When we have 4 terms, how do I find the zeros? How do I solve? Grouping. Group the first 2, group the second 2. What's the GCF from the first group? When we take out an x squared, what are we left with? X minus 3. What's the GCF from our second group? 1. Awesome. We don't have a GCF because it's already x minus 3, but we have to take out that 1. Then we're going to take the 2 things on the outsides and put them together. X squared plus 1. And then the 2 things on the inside are going to go just as 1, x minus 3. So from here, we can set them both equal to 0. So x squared plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 3 equals 0. Subtract the 1 to the other side, so x squared equals negative 1. Square root it, so what does x equal? Plus or minus I. Awesome. Remember, when you have a negative under the square root, it turns into an I. So plus or minus I. Then with our other one here, we have x equals what? 3. So these are 3 solutions here. So we have x equals I, x equals negative I, and x equals 3. Now for B, it says to find the complete factorization. This is just writing it in factored form. So it's kind of like the step before. If I were to go backwards a step, instead of saying x equals, I would subtract I on both sides to move it back over, get it equal to 0. So this would be x minus I. Same thing here, but we would add I to move it to the other side to get it to be equal to 0. So this would be x plus I. And then same thing here, but we'd subtract 3, so this would be x minus 3. So notice how the signs change when we write it in factored form. So these are the factors of it. This is going to be important when we go to the next example. But it's always, always x minus the number. So x minus the number. So notice how the signs change. Instead of saying x equals I, x minus I. X equals negative I, x plus I. And x equals 3 is x minus 3. The signs change. Before, multiplicity is just if we have multiple of the answer. So if it said that I had a 0 of 5, or let's say x equals 5, but we have a multiplicity of 2, that just means we have 2 of those answers. We have x equals 5 and x equals 5. So multiplicity is just how many of those. They're repeated zeros. Whatever your highest degree is, that's how many zeros you're going to have. So if I have an x to the 3rd power, I have 3 zeros. If I have x to the 4th power, we're going to have 4 zeros. Here we have 2 that have multiplicity. So we've got 2 3i's and 2 negative 3i's. If I have x to the 5th power is my highest degree, I have 5 zeros. So whatever your highest degree is, that's how many answers you have. We've talked about this before. So with example 4, it's going to give us the zeros, and we have to come up with the polynomial. It says find the polynomial. So we're working backwards here. We're going to ignore this part that says with p of 3 equals 25. Just cross that out. It's not important. So we're going to take our zeros, and we want to put it into factored form first. So in factored form, it's always x minus the number, just like we did in the first example. So x minus I. Next, we change the sign, it'd be x plus I. How would I write 2 in factored form? X minus 2. How do we write negative 2 in factored form? X plus 2. So this is in factored form, but we got to multiply this all out to come up with our polynomial. How many zeros did we start with? 4. So our answer is going to be a polynomial that's x to the 4th power. So we're going to FOIL all of these together. Now when we FOIL, we just want to do 2 at a time. I think so too. So we always start with the pair if you have i's, multiply those two together first. This would be x squared minus I times x plus I times x minus I squared. Yeah. The I times x's will cancel in the middle. So we have x squared minus I squared. And what does I squared turn to? Negative 1. So this would be minus negative 1. What does minus negative 1 change to? Plus 1. So this would be x squared plus 1. So that's what we get when we FOIL the first two together. Let's FOIL the second two together now. X squared plus 2x minus 2x minus 4. So we get x squared, 2x minus 2x will cancel. So x squared minus 4. Now we have to take these two answers and multiply them together. So we're going to FOIL these now. What's x squared times x squared? X to the fourth power minus 4x squared plus x squared minus 4. Combine our like terms. So x to the fourth power. What's negative 4x squared plus x squared? Negative 3x squared minus 4. So this would be our answer. Good with this one?
Yeah.
Now we're going to do the same thing with B. For B, it says that we have a polynomial of degree 4 with zeros negative 2 and 0, where negative 2 is a 0 of multiplicity 3. So how many negative 2's do I have? 3 of them. How would I write negative 2 in factored form? X plus 2. How many x plus 2's will I have? 3 of them, because we have 3 negative 2. So x plus 2 times x plus 2 times x plus 2. How would I write 0 in factored form? Would we say, remember it's always x minus, would I say x minus 0? What's a better way of writing x minus 0? Do we need to put a plus or minus 0? So instead of saying x minus 0, how else could we write that?
0 plus x.
Just x. Just x. You don't need the minus 0 there, so it's just x. Now let's multiply these together. So if we want, we can start with the first two here. We just distribute the x, so it'd be x squared plus 2x. Now let's multiply the second two together. So when we FOIL these, we get x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. So x squared, what's 2x plus 2x? 4x plus 4.
That's like saying, what's 2 plus 2?
What should I do next? We're going to multiply the x squared plus 2x to the x squared plus 4x plus 4. So this is just like FOILing, but we have an extra step because we have 3 terms in the second part. So just make sure everything in your first set of parentheses gets multiplied to everything in the second set. So starting with x squared. What's x squared times x squared?
X4.
X to the fourth. What's x squared times 4x?
4x to the third.
4x to the third. What's x squared times 4?
4x squared.
4x squared. Then we move on to the 2x. What's 2x times x squared?
2x to the cubed.
2x to the third. What's 2x times 4x? 8x squared. And 2x times 4? 8x. What should we do next? Combine our like terms. X to the fourth power. Then we have our x cubes. What would this be?
6x to the third.
4x squared plus 8x squared,
12x squared.
and then plus 8x. Yes. So this would be our answer. All right, on the next page, whenever we have a conjugate or a complex number, so whenever we have an I, its conjugate pair is also going to be an I. So if I had, let's say, 1 plus 2I as one of our zeros, the conjugate of this is also going to be a 0. So we would know that 1 minus 2I is a 0 as well. So if you have an I as one of your zeros, its conjugate is also a 0. So it just means the sign in the middle changes. Let's say I had 6I that was a 0. What would the conjugate of this be? Negative 6I. Perfect. If I had negative I as a 0, what's the conjugate of this? Positive I. So complex zeros occur in conjugate pairs. So it might only tell you that one of these is a 0. Its conjugate is also going to be a 0 as well. So example 6 tells us that we have a polynomial of degree 3, so it's going to be an x to the third power. We have zeros of 1/2 and 3 minus I. Well, if I have a complex 0, I know that its conjugate pair is also a 0. What's the conjugate of 3 minus I?
3 plus I.
3 plus I.
Does it only work with eyes?
Yeah, only with i's. Only with i's you need the conjugate pair. So when we write this out in factored form, we have x minus 1/2, x minus, I'm going to put it in parentheses since we have two terms here, 3 minus I, and x minus 3 plus I. So remember, it's always x minus the number. Now we want to simplify our factored form a little bit. Anytime that you have a fraction, when you have your factored form, you want to take the denominator and move it in front of the x. So we want to get rid of the fraction. So this would be 2x minus 1. Now for the next one, I want to get rid of those parentheses inside. So to get rid of them, I'm going to distribute the negative. So this would be x minus 3 plus I. Same thing with the second one. I'm going to distribute the negative. So this would be x minus 3 minus I. So this would be in factored form. You would have to multiply it out to get your final answer. You'd end up with an x to the third power. Skip the next page. Skip the next one. You can skip this one. I think we did this example before break too. And then on the last page, skip 7 and 8. Don't worry about them. Don't even look at them. You won't have any questions like that. We're going to do 4 and 6. So looking at number 4. So we have 2 and negative 5i as our zeros. But because we have an I, we need its pair. We need its partner. What would the pair for negative 5i be? Positive 5i. So positive 5i is also a 0. So let's write this in factored form. How would I? Awesome. X minus 2, x plus 5i, x minus 5i. You always, always, always want to start by multiplying the conjugate pairs together, so the i's. You want to start by multiplying these. That way it'll get rid of the i's. In your final answer, you will never have i's in your answer. So if you did something, I don't know, if you did the math and you still have i's in your final answer, you did something wrong. You might not have included a pair or you multiplied wrong, but you always, always, always want to start by multiplying the i's together. So when we FOIL this, we get x squared minus 5ix plus 5ix minus, what's 5i times 5i?
Squared.
Awesome, so negative 25i squared. The negative 5ix and the positive 5ix will cancel. And then what do we know that the I squared is going to change to? It'll be negative 1, which changes it to positive 25. So since we had a negative 25, when we multiply it by the negative 1, it turns into positive 25. Any questions so far? So all we did was multiply the x plus 5i and the x minus 5i. We FOILed those together. Yeah. Now here, we want to multiply the x minus 2 to it. So we still have that third one that we got to multiply to it. So we just FOIL. What's x times x squared? X to the third, x times 25, be 25x minus 2x squared minus 50. Last step, let's just put it in standard form. So x to the third power minus 2x squared plus 25x minus 50. Any questions here? So with number 6, we have 6 and negative 5 minus 2i as the zeros. Are we missing any zeros here? What? The conjugate. What would our conjugate be? Awesome. Negative 5 plus 2i. So the first number stays the same. That negative 5 stays the same. Just the sign in the middle changes. So when I write this into factored form, remember it's always x minus the number. So x minus 6, it'll be x minus, since we have two numbers here, let's put it into parentheses. Negative 5 minus 2i, and x minus negative 5 plus 2i. Let's distribute the negative here. So this turns into x plus 5 plus 2i, x plus 5 minus 2i. Now from here, we're going to FOIL these together. It's a little bit more than FOILing because we have 3 terms in each of them, so just be careful with the math. Make sure everything in the first set gets multiplied to everything in the second. So starting with x times x is x squared plus 5x. We'll just say minus 2ix. Yeah. The x's are, or the i's are always going to cancel in the middle, so we'll just leave it like this. Don't worry about the order that you put it in. The i's, the solo i's that you have will always cancel. Any I squared that you have will turn into negative 1. So the i's always go away when you multiply the conjugates. Then let's multiply the 5. So plus 5x plus 25 minus 10i. Then here we have 2i, so plus 2ix plus 10i minus 4i squared. I squared changes to be negative 1. What's negative 1 times negative 4? Plus 4. So I'll just change that now. Good job. Let's put this into standard form now. So starting with the x squared, 5x plus 5x is 10x. Then we have minus 2ix and plus 2ix. What happens to those? They cancel. The whole thing goes away. Then we have 25 plus 4. So plus 29. And then negative 10i plus 10i cancels. Like I said, the i's are always going to cancel. So if they don't, you might have did the math wrong somewhere. Now we're not done yet. We still have to multiply the x minus 6 to it. So let's FOIL here. X times x squared is? X times 10x? 10x squared. Plus 29x. Negative 6x squared. Negative 60x. Let's write it down. 29 times 6. 54. Awesome. Negative 174. Good job. Combine like terms is our last step. So we have x to the third power plus 4x squared. Perfect. 29x minus 60x. Negative 31x minus 174. That would be our answer.